All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cobra Corner. In this episode, we'll be recapping last week's top performances from Coker women's soccer, field hockey, and newly added wrestling as they started their season.
Yeah, they did.
This past week. Then we'll dive into our guest segment. We'll have women's soccer head coach Michael Donald coming on the show today. He'll be sharing insights on an impressive season, to say the least, from the women this year, full of program firsts. So looking forward to that. And then we'll look up into next week, or the packed week of final games of the regular season for men's and women's soccer, along with the start of basketball season and upcoming matchups for volleyball and wrestling. Let's get right into it with some quick headlines.
So this week, lots of stuff happening this past week. Men's soccer moved up into the national rankings to number 7 last week in the country, so that's huge. New rankings coming out on Tuesday, so we'll see where they move after their draw this week. 3 South Atlantic Conference Players of the Week this past week. Kaya Sabor, SAC Offensive Player of the Week for field hockey. Maya Clark, SAC Offensive Player of the Week for women's soccer. She leads the conference in goals and in points.
So. Yeah, I just wanted to point this out. She has 14 goals in the conference. The next closest has 10. So she's leading the conference by 4 goals as a freshman.
And it's
it's
not close.
As well as 30 points in total conference. And the next highest player has 22. So to say she's in the lead by a little bit would be an understatement.
She is. It's convincingly in the lead. Yes. Yeah.
But
so she's had a stellar campaign, and let's hope she can continue that. The last game of the season and then into the playoffs, but we'll talk about that later.
I'm sure Mike will have some things to say about his stellar freshman.
Yeah,
too.
For sure. And then Charlie Walker of men's soccer wins SAC Defensive Player of the Week. Had a clean sheet and a huge PK save to keep the game at 0-0, and then they ended up winning it 1-0 later on, so that's huge. And then the men's soccer developmental team wins the CDL championship, defeating Combine Academy in that one. I think it was they were down 3-0 and then brought it back and tied it 3-3, so bridged that 3-goal gap and then won it in pens. So
what a way to finish it.
Yeah, goodness gracious. Hey, secured the trophy and brought it back home here to Hartsville. So
and they avenged the loss they had to them earlier in the season too, so that had to be bittersweet.
And they lost them last year
it's been Combine Academy and Coker for a good bit now. They're two very familiar faces with each other.
Yeah, that was a huge win. But on to now our weekly recap. So first of all, women's soccer, 2 games played last week, went 2-0, defeated Allen 5-0. Mila Roush with a game-high 2 goals, and Kelsey Smith had 2 assists. Dalen Perry had 6 saves, and then Parkin and Perry kept the clean sheet for the Cobras. And then on Saturday, Mars Hill defeated them 1-0, and Maya Clark, once again, surprise, surprise, found the back of the net for the 14th time this season. And then Parkin had 5 saves in the contest to keep the clean sheet. And, we talked about her goals are insane in the conference and number 1 by far in points and goals, so that's awesome. But staying on the field,
stay in the winning column.
In the win column,
a big win from Coker field hockey this past week. They defeated LMU 3-2 in OT.
Crazy game.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a good game to watch. They jumped out to an early lead, but just 2 minutes into the match, Ponick put a ball home, and it was Kai Sabor and Amber Brown who assisted that one. And then LMU rattled off 2 quick goals in the second and third period, so they had one going right into halftime and then one right out of halftime to make the score 2-1. And then who other than Kaya Sabor and Janikowski finding each other on the doorstep. Janikowski put that one past the keeper with 2 minutes remaining in the game to send this one into OT.
And what's even crazier is that it wasn't actually 2 minutes. It was 1 minute and 6 seconds left on the clock that she tied that game at 2-2 to take it into overtime. And then a great way to finish things off. They won it in overtime 4 minutes into it. And Sabor, of course, got the goal there. Overtime rules kind of favor the Cobras. Most of the time, they've got the best player on the field in Kaya Sabor, and a lot of their problem is a lack of subs. And during overtime in field hockey, at least in Division II, they only play 7v7 in overtime.
Yeah.
So it's
just like pro hockey does that too. It's like more of just a way to get the game over with quicker, because allows for more offense to be played and more chances to be created.
Yeah.
With the less amount of people on the field.
And when you have the best offensive player on the field,
yeah,
and allow the Cobras to have subs, you get a little bit of
I remember sitting on I've actually filmed this game, put a recap out, and then in between the end of the game and overtime starting, you could hear Coach Johnson on the sideline just ecstatic that she had subs, because she knew she had the better team, and then with those players being able to have subs was ultimately huge for the Cobras here. Yeah. She was like she was like, go all out, we got subs, we just give everything you got. If you need one, we come get a breather. But yeah, it was nice to see the field hockey bring out that big win in conference.
Sure.
Leaves them with 2 conference wins, one over Lander.
Yeah, one over Lander,
one over LMU.
OT win over LMU.
Yeah. And they ended up wrapping up the season this past weekend. So congratulations on a first year for Coach Johnson. I know there's gonna be
started off a little rocky, but
gonna go
finished
here.
Well.
Yeah, so she's been on the recruiting trail, had a couple big recruits in line for next year. Yeah. So only up from here for field hockey.
Yeah, and excited to see it next year.
Absolutely. And then wrestling hit the mats this past week at the Pembroke Open. Steven Spitka ended up winning the 133-pound bracket. Noah Kornowski won the 157-pound bracket. And then some other notable finishes. James Gonzalez, second place in the 141 Open. Dustin Flynn, third place in the 157 Open. And then Dawson Casher, fourth place in the 174-pound Open. So good showing for the Cobras in their opening match against UNC and Pembroke there. And then without further ado, we're going to bring Michael Donald onto the show. Look forward to picking his brain a little bit about Cobra women's soccer. So,
all right, so our guest on this week's podcast is none other than women's soccer head coach Michael Donald. Michael, great to have you on the podcast.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's first time this year that we've been able to get you guys on, but wanted to take a minute and kind of talk about, first of all, just give a little bit of a background on yourself, kind of your soccer background and where you were before this and how you got to Cobra.
So before Cobra, I was in Florida, kind of where I played college and kind of coached for I think 5-6 years before I came here. So I was at Nova, Southeastern, I was at Barry, and then I was at Embry-Riddle as well, which is where I graduated from a long time ago now. So I was actually very lucky. After graduation, I went back to Scotland, which is where I'm originally from, and got to play professionally for a little bit as well, and coach over there, which was fun. It's fun being home, but far too cold. So I was like, nah, let's get back to the Sunshine State. So that's when I moved back to Florida and then started the college coaching journey then, which has led me to Cobra, and I'm loving it. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So pretty successful season in perspective so far this year. Picked 11th in the preseason poll. And so how does it feel to be well above that slot?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I think the preseason poll is kind of based off of where we finished last year. But even last year when we finished, I think we finished 11th, but we felt we were better than that. I felt like we put in some good performances, and we were just missing, a little bit of experience, which our freshmen and sophomores got last year, and you can now see the benefits of it this year. They go into games knowing how to win, especially in conference, because every conference game's tough, whether you're at the top or you're at the bottom. Every conference game's tough, and I think our players have learned how difficult it is and what it takes to come through. You've seen homecoming weekend, we went down 1-0 against Tusculum, came back 1-1 at half-time, went down 2-1 right after half-time, and maybe previous seasons that kind of breaks us. But this year, they knew how to win, and they managed to come back, and we get a massive
4-2 result,
on senior night, and that sets us up for a good finish to the season. So it's pleasing to finally see the players in the program get the fruits of the labor, I guess. Like, they've worked really hard over the last 2-3 years to get to this point.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about, you've had some pretty good freshmen step up into their roles this year. Now, Kira obviously injured, not playing now, but both Kira Bolka and Maya Clark. Talk about maybe how you got them on campus here at Coker and how they've been so impactful so far.
Yeah, I mean, when we recruit internationally, it's always difficult to get them on campus to view it beforehand.
Yeah.
We do rely on our student athletes kind of showing them a little bit on FaceTime and showing them the dorms and getting on cameras. So it's not just me getting them here, it's what the team does as well. So we go through that process of speaking to them, telling them what we're about, our goals, what we see and where we see them fitting into that. And then I honestly believe it's when they speak to the players that are already in the team, they're the ones that actually convince them to come, not really the coaches. And I think our seniors and juniors done a really good job of that when we asked them to speak to the freshmen. So they convinced them to come, and now they're here. Kira, obviously very impactful at the start of the season. I think she was Player of the Week.
SAC Player of the Week, the first week of the season, yeah.
I think it was 2 goals, 2 assists, or 2 goals?
2 goals, 2 assists, yep.
So yeah, she's a great addition. She's very direct, and something we wanted to add this year was a little bit more directness to our game, a little bit more athleticism. I felt like last year we played a lot of nice football, but we couldn't really threaten in behind. Mm-hmm. Kira offers that, Maya offers that, who you've mentioned, Reiko offers that as well.
Someone that we didn't mention, Isabella Reiko, also having a stellar first-year campaign as well. So
we added that. So really happy with the way the freshmen have settled in, and not just that, I think the way specifically our senior class this year, how they've stepped up and kind of welcomed them, and not just the senior, but everyone. Like, I feel like we're a good group in terms of everyone gets along with everyone, and it's not, new players versus old players. It's like, we're all doing this together, and whether we step on the field or we don't step on the field, we've got a role to play, and I feel like everyone's doing a good job of that. Maya has had an exceptional season.
She's a candidate for probably Player of the Year in the conference. She leads the conference in points and in goals.
Yeah, I'd hope she's a candidate if you're leading the conference in goals. I think you deserve to be. But not just our goals, the work rate she puts in, the way she leads the front line, she holds the ball up, allows our midfield to get up and support her. She does a really good job of that as well. So I'm happy she's getting the goals with it, because as a striker, that's kind of how they judge themselves. So I'm sure that's given her lots of confidence. I think I seen something the other day, I just checked the stat. I think she's 4th or 5th in the country as well. I think I think the top goal scorer, at least after our game, so on Friday night, I think I checked it, the top goal scorer in the country was 17, and she's now sitting at 14. So she's had a really good season.
Yeah, to say the least.
Hopefully it continues. We've got a couple of big games coming up, and hopefully she can get a few more goals.
Yeah, so going back a little bit, some of the biggest challenges you've probably faced this year has been dealing with injuries and stuff. So how do you motivate the girls that are next man up mentality, and how do you motivate them to step into that role? I
mean, something we've always spoke about. I think I probably learned my first year here when we had a smaller squad, and ever since then we've tried to grow the squad. So even in recruiting, it's something we talk about quite a lot, is we expect people will be injured or suspended or for whatever reason not available. So it takes everyone. Well, I would say Bella Tarwheelan's a perfect example of it. Probably hasn't played as much as what she would like, and then the game against Marcel, I think she was subbed in and ended up playing like 60 minutes. Not for someone that was injured, just she's been performing in practice, and in the recent games where she was getting maybe 10 minutes here or there, we've seen some things that will help us in that Marcel game, and she gets rewards out of it. So it's something we talk about all the time, is make sure you're ready. So even in practice, we say to our players, okay, you might not be getting reps in this position, but make sure you learn and understand, because you could do that position. And I think it's credit to the players having that mentality, I'll be ready. whether I get 5 minutes, 50 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever time I get, I'll make sure I'm ready. And when I'm given that chance, Michael's going to find it hard to take me off the field. And I don't know if it's anything that we do as coaching. I think it's more the mindset of a player, just to be like, yeah, I'll be ready. And I love players that have an attitude, I'll prove him wrong. So when they don't get the minutes they want, or they expect I should have been playing that game, I should have got subbed on, or I should have started, and they don't, I'll prove him wrong. And we mention that to our players, prove me wrong. And I love players that prove me wrong all the time. And I'll say it to them. I'm not perfect. I don't get every decision right. Yeah. So step up. And Bella's one of those ones that definitely done it this weekend.
So how is the assistant coaching staff? How do they kind of aid in that player development when we can't be all places at once? So how do they help you with that?
Massive. Probably, I don't think they realize how much they help. I try and tell them how important they are, but sometimes I'm not always good at giving out that praise. But they are. Sheridan, Connor and Tony been huge for me this year. Sheridan's really stepped up, and something we've done this year that we haven't done in the past was, because we had a larger squad, as opposed to people sitting off and kind of watching reps, it was no, we'll split and we'll make sure everyone's getting more reps than what they were getting last year. And Sheridan's kind of led that in terms of she takes a group, and I'm not always there to watch it, but every session, as we're walking in, or we'll sit in the office 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, and we'll talk about how my session went and how Sheridan's session went, and okay, what are some things that maybe we need to improve on, who done well, who didn't really step up, and that feedback's massive for me. Then game time as well, I think all three of them, Tony, Connor and Sheridan have stepped up. They see things that I'm not seeing. I'm so focused on our team. Yeah, I want to zone out and
control. You can control there.
Exactly right. Yeah, so, they have their roles, and they might not think it's that important, but it really does help me in terms of making decisions. And then at halftime they give me their feedback, some stuff that I don't see, specifically what the other teams may be doing. And there's Bluefield would be a perfect example. We were 0-0 at halftime, and we were not playing well. I don't think we hit our standards. So I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do tactically. And I think it was Sheridan and Connor both like, it's not a tactical thing, it's an attitude thing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So we went in, and it was we had a go at them, and it's not something we do often, but we were like, hey, your attitude's not on point, it's not what it needs to be. And I think that message got delivered.
5-0.
And it came out and performed. So that is something that they impacted. And obviously Tony being here for 3 years, he's also helped develop this program into where it is. He was here on day one, and to see where we've came from 2 years ago to where we are now, he's played a massive role in that. Not just the keepers, which is obviously one of his main reasons, or one of his main areas of focus, but he's also helped out with the recruiting and the coaching on the field as well. So not all three of them have been great, and we wouldn't have been where we're at if it wasn't for them too.
Yeah. So how do you build on a season like this? So obviously you've kind of taken steps up every single year that you've been with the program, to a point this year where you've clinched a playoff bid down for the South Atlantic Conference. And that's the first time since you've been here, correct?
Yeah, I think first time in program history as well. I don't think they've clinched SAC playoffs. I think they clinch playoffs when they're in another conference.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But so that's huge. So how do you? I mean, obviously you want to still try and win it this year, but how do you build off of that for seasons to come?
Same as always. Work hard. There's no secret to it. We expect our players to work hard, and if we're demanding that they work hard, then we as coaches have to work hard. And recruiting's massive. So I just left the office there, and that's what we were talking about. Recruiting season's not even over, and we're already talking about recruiting for next year. Because that's how you build on it, and that's what we've done each of the last 2 years. Is okay. One thing we identified was the smaller squad to start with. Okay, we need to recruit more people. we've done that. Then it's what position do we recruit? We probably didn't score as many goals as what we would have liked last year. We bring in players that have obviously helped do that with more goals and more assists from our attacking players. It'll be the same next year. Will it be easy? No, but that's good. It means we're doing something right. And I say to the players, my job is to out-recruit every year. Out-recruit what we have. Their job is to make it hard, and this year they're making it hard. So we will do our best to replace the seniors that we're losing, which is going to be tough because they're doing really well this year. But that's a privilege to be in that position to find it hard to replace the players that we're losing. I think it would just be hard work, get out in that recruiting trail and get to the tournaments and try and bring in better players every year.
Yeah, so bouncing off the recruiting a little bit, what would be your ideal pitch to someone that wants to come play soccer for Cobra?
Want to win. That's the first thing I'm looking for is, it's not really about, I mean, it is a little bit about selling Coker to the recruit, but I'm also like, is the recruit the right person for us? I think we're at that point now. It's like, and we were last year too. It's like, well, is this person going to help us, and are they going to fit in with our group and our mindset? And I think we're a very competitive group. Mm-hmm. I was just looking at some of the stats in terms of fouls and yellow cards, and I think we're leading the conference. Which isn't necessarily a good thing, but it does show you how much that we want to compete.
Absolutely.
So we need to make sure we find someone that can fit that. So I think when I talk to a recruit, I do talk about where we want the program to go and finding out if they can help us and do they have that winning mentality. What we've said to the recruits that have come in, and even the players that were here when I got here, is they have a chance to make history. Mm-hmm. They've got a chance to do something that's never been done in the program before, to go win championships. And it might be a couple of years away, it might be next year, whatever it is, but it's something that's not been done before. We've never had like a playoff spot. We've never hosted the playoff. Like, hopefully we can do that this season. If we can't, that's a goal for next year. Mm-hmm. Okay, when we speak to those recruits, we've never hosted before. We're bringing in you because we want to go host. We want to go compete against the national tournament teams. That would be something I'd say to them. Then we tell everyone what Cobra is: small town, small school, and it has that family feel, and something that we pride ourselves on at women's soccer. I feel like we do a really good job of getting out and supporting all of our teams. We actually mandate sometimes where it's like, hey, you have to go to this event and you have to go support this team. Mm-hmm. Even when we don't, I always see women's soccer there. So I think that's something we talk about, is like, we enjoy supporting our basketball teams, our lacrosse teams, our golf teams, whatever it might be, softball teams, baseball teams. Like last year when baseball hosted, I thought it was amazing. I know our athletes weren't here, but I was just out there, and it's nice seeing Carson Newman come to our conference, come to our field, and like, we're hosting you. Because we were ahead of you. Like that was something I really enjoyed.
It's true.
Men's soccer's going to do it this year. Unfortunately, we won't be able to be at that game because we will be obviously doing our own game. But I think that's something that we sort of say to our recruits is, we expect you to come in and compete to win, and then have that sort of, everyone's here to help you do that, and we will help others as well. So recruiting's not easy, but it's not rocket science either.
It's fair.
You just be honest with recruits, tell them this is what you'll get, and I feel like we deliver on that. We deliver on the experience. We said to our recruits, you'll break records, and they're doing that.
Yeah. It seems like culture is a huge piece for you, and I feel like that's so helpful when you've instilled that culture in your team, that your teammate, or not your teammate, but your players are like, honestly, you're just your own little recruiters. You know, each one of them is staying on a certain recruit. Like, especially maybe if they're from the same country, maybe they're talking to them like, hey, this is my experience, this is how I got here, and this is how I've been successful here. That's so huge to be able to trust your team and to be your right hand in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the start, like, we can say all this, and I generally say to our recruits, I can tell you all this, but I could be lying and you would never know. Speak to the players, speak to the ones that have gone through it, and we allow recruits to speak to our team without coaches present, and we hope that the current players. We'll be honest, with the good and the bad, right? So like we never want a recruit to come here and go, well, I didn't expect that. Like I encourage them to like ask them what are the bad things about me as a coach, and hear that, and hopefully there's not too many bad things. But
Yeah.
I'm sure I frustrate the players sometimes when they don't get as many days off as what they would like or whatever it might be. But I think our players are honest, and they know those bad things that the coach has. That he's only trying to do his best, and we do put the team first. And I think they explain that to the recruits. And I think it's the players do a really good job of saying, hey, this would be a place you'll enjoy.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we've got. So thank you for joining us. Good luck. The playoffs are rolling around here soon. Last regular season game on Wednesday against Wingate at 4:30.
Yep.
So you guys listening into this or watching this, make sure you're there for that, for both the women's and the men's game right after. And then be there to support. They're heading to the playoffs for the first time, I think, in SAC history.
Yeah. Let's just go with sounds better.
Yeah, that does. Yeah.
SAC.
Yeah. So go out, support, and if you can't go out to if they host a playoff game, be here. If not, Flow Sports, or if it's close, go and support. So
It ain't going to be close.
It's probably not going to be close.
We already know who we're playing. It's LMU. So it's guaranteed we'll be playing LMU. So it's either here or there.
Okay, so watch on Flow Sports tonight. Yeah.
unless you're dedicated, you want to take the trek.
Truck to Harrogate.
You want the 6-hour trip to come support? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And once again, we thank Michael Donald for being on the show. And speaking of that, we're going to talk looking into next week. And it's first off with women's soccer.
Big game, as we just heard from Michael.
Yeah. So they play Wingate. Final game of the season at home on Wednesday at 4:30. They have locked up a playoff spot, like we talked about, for the first time that they've in school history since they've been in the South Atlantic Conference. And they will either be the 4 or the 5 seed and either play host or travel to LMU. As of right now, they're at the 5 seed, so they would travel to Harrogate, Tennessee to play LMU. So let's hope that they can possibly host, and if not, regardless, they will play Lincoln Memorial on Saturday. And then men's soccer, also final game of the season at home Wednesday. So women's soccer at 4:30, men's soccer at 7 as normal. And then they have locked up the 2 seed, so they can't go higher and they can't go lower. And they will play host to whoever the 7 seed is on Saturday here in Hartsville. Time is TBD, so be ready for an announcement for when that releases. That should happen after games finish up on Wednesday. They will either play Lenore-Rhine or Wingate. Most likely it will be LR. And for it to be Wingate, Wingate would have to beat us on Wednesday, and LR would have to lose to Catawba on Wednesday. So, but obviously it's possible, but it most likely is looking like it'll be LR. So, but regardless who it is, make sure you're there. And then 2 volleyball games, one on the road on Wednesday, and then one at home on Friday, both at 7 o'clock. It's at Catawba on Wednesday, and then against Carson Newman here on Friday. So watch the game against Catawba online on Flow Sports, and then be here inside the Deloach Center on Friday at 7 to watch us.
Wrapping the season, right?
No, they've got a couple more games. Their season's a little bit longer than the soccer season and the field hockey season. But yeah, they're gonna play a couple more games. So make sure you're there on Friday for sure. And then continuing, I guess, indoors, you've got 3 sports coming up here. The winter sports are kicking off. So let's hear about it.
It's indoor season now. Wrestling is gonna host Montevallo. They're going to play Montevallo at UNCP on Wednesday at 5 p.m. And then we're going to get some hoops going on now. Women's basketball has season opener at FMU. Always a good one when we play Francis Marion.
Of course.
Friday at 7:30, and then they'll play against UNCP at FMU on Saturday at 1 p.m. So best of luck to ladies as they look to start off on the right foot this upcoming season. And then men's basketball is going to have the season opener against Erskine at Emmanuel on Friday at 8 p.m. And then they'll also play at Emmanuel on Saturday at 4. So Emmanuel at Emmanuel is one of those little play days that the basketball tends to start out with, both men's and women's.
Both teams, women will be at FMU Friday, Saturday, and then the men will be at Emmanuel Friday, Saturday. And the women will open up with FMU and then play UNCP at FMU. And then the men will open up with Erskine at Emmanuel and then play Emmanuel on Saturday. So great opening weekend for hoops. We're so excited for those seasons to start, and we can't wait to see you guys here in the Deloach Center getting loud and intense like we know you will. So,
and the Cobra Pit will be open for basketball season. It has been open for volleyball because they need to use that area back in the back to serve and all that. But yeah, Cobra Pit's always fun when you got the students getting up for some Cobra basketball. But other than that, that's all we got for this week's Cobra Corner. A big shout out to Coach Michael Dahl for joining us on the show, giving us a little insight on the Coker women's soccer program. Be sure to come out and support the Cobras in the final games of the season. Keep your eye out for some updates for our social media pages as we head into the playoff season for playoff seeding, players of the week, all that fun stuff. And then we'll be right back at you next week with more highlights, scores, and stories from the beloved Coker Athletics. Until then, go Cobras.
Go Cobras.